Yep, that works. All right, let's see if we got. See if we can make something happen here. Top of the morning. Hello, Dirty Goddess. That is a great name, by the way. I'm all for the it's called oxymorons. Um, like high key downplaying something. Dirty goddess. A lot of people don't associate goddesses with dirt, but that's like the best. That's like the womb right there, the dirt. You know what I'm saying? Love the name. You make soap? Oh my gosh, that's awesome. My mom always really wanted to make soap. I think yeah, making your own soap, making your own toothpaste, all that is super amazing. That's super cool, Dirty Goddess. Soap making. Do you know about your human design? Patchouli, yes, indeed. Maria, hello. What's up to everybody joining the chat? If you're new to this live, my name is Marco, and I'm talking about human design. I go by Reiki Marco because Reiki was it's kind of like the master that I serve. Reiki is a Japanese word. It means universal life force energy. And a lot of people know Reiki by this like healing thing. But Reiki is really so much more than healing. Reiki is really about the same thing human design is, which is surrendering to your purpose, aligning with your highest self, which is inherently embedded in you. And there's no erasing it. There's no erasing who you are. There's just covering up. There's just suppression. But you don't give your power away. You can't give your power away. And this is kind of new language. I think that people in the New Age community it's sort of shocking to them. Good evening from South Africa. Love from Israel. Hello. 3-5 mental projector, huh? Well, know that my page, especially for projectors and reflectors, is really helpful because I am a reflector. I find that a lot of people who are in the human design space, number one, maybe most of them haven't been doing human design all that long. I've been doing it for 10 years. And the second thing is that a lot of them are giving advice or counsel that is just like parroted back and forth, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but my experience is that when you actually have some skills before you come to human design, those skills, similar to like what happened with Reiki, those skills, pre-existing skills, were amplified by the awareness of human design. So if you have something already, and whether it's like making soaps, like Dirty God, not to say like take business advice from me, but it's like having soaps for each of the types, like a generator soap, a manifesting generator soap, a projector soap, a reflector soap, a manifester soap. I would buy a reflector soap from you. Just saying. But the reason why that's cool is because we all have this ability to differentiate each other, right? We have the ability to say that's a tall person, that's a short person, that person's smart, that person's not smart. And we all have this ability to objectively judge someone, not to try and make them feel bad or be assholes, but just because we have the ability to do that. We have the ability to notice the differences between us. Now, most people take that as how you say, they look at judgment, they look at differentiation as like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not like everybody else? But the fact is that you're not like everybody else. You're not the exact same as everybody else. Thank you, by the way, guys, for all these little hearts. Every tap goes towards us getting this message about the beauty of each individual. It gets that out into the world. So the more that you guys are tapping, just know that that's what I'm all about. I'm all about helping people discover that who they are is good enough. And also teaching people how to see the matrix, to physically see when they're being conditioned by somebody, or when they're being manipulated by somebody. That's really what this is all about. Felicity, thank you for sharing the live as well. All of that is super helpful. Nina, thank you for the follow. Dirty Goddess, nice. I should check it out. All natural soaps, but with magic always. Yes. Yeah. And just in general, you know, a thing with business is now that we're in the age of technology, the ability to customize um, products for specific people is unprecedented. You know, back when the industrial age was about, it's like, oh, we can make a bunch of this product. But now it's like the information age is out. It's like, oh, we can make a bunch of this product and make it unique so that each of the 1,000 people getting this product is going to have a unique experience based off of who they are. Again, this is where I believe human design is really going to change the game. Or limited run series, you know, in terms of business, like exclusivity is one of the coolest and most valuable things, right? Because it's exclusive. It's like not everyone gets to sit VIP, right? Not everyone gets to talk to the performer after their show, right? Maybe a 1% or 0.5%. And really what is I'm not not that I'm like trying to give business advice out here, but I really appreciate the ability that human design gives each of us as individuals to tailor experiences for ourselves so that we can actually enjoy it. Because a lot of people, and let me know in the chat if you resonate with this. Just say authority in the chat if you resonate with this. If you've ever done something not because you wanted to do it, but because somebody like your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your dad or your brother or your friend, if you've ever done anything because your friend wanted you to do it and you didn't necessarily want to do it, type authority in the chat, and then I'm gonna talk about it. And if you want to share what it was, um, do that as well if you want. But I just want to know if you've ever done anything because somebody else wanted you to do it. Dirty Goddess, women want wellness. Type authority in the chat if you've ever done something because somebody else wanted you to do it. Now, this is not a bad thing, I will say right out the gates. So nobody feel don't feel wrong or bad if this has happened to you, because the opposite is true. If you've ever done anything for yourself, even though somebody else didn't want you to do it, type inner and send it in the chat. INNER, like inner, right? So now it's like if you've ever done anything that you wanted to do, but maybe other people in your world, your friends didn't want to. Yeah, and if you've done both, just say both. Um, just, let's get some engagement going, guys. And if you love human design, tap and share the live. So the reason I ask that is because one of the things that human design does for us is it gives us this ability to determine the difference between an external authority and an inner authority. Neither is bad, but what's bad is not knowing, right? It's not knowing where your authority begins and the internal or the external authority ends, right? And it's, you know, it's like, it's not necessarily a trick question because everyone has experienced doing things because of the external authority and doing things because of their own internal authority. Now, generally speaking, most people are slaves to the external authority. They can't even see what's the way they're being conditioned, because they're being conditioned. It's like a fish living its whole life in water. Someone asks it, hey, how warm is the water? And the fish goes, what are you talking about? That's like people asking you, what does the air taste like? It's like, I, I don't know. You know, that might be a totally normal question for them, but for us, it's like we know it. And we know the external authority really, really well because typically it's the reason that we're alive, right? When you're babies, you rely on the external authority for the most part, in the sense that mom and dad feed you, clean you, take care of you, make sure you don't fall down the stairs, all that stuff. But as you get older, what happens is your inner authority starts to manifest more and more and more. So your inner authority starts to become a part of the external authority in a different way. Now, when we're children, our inner authority is manifesting in a beautifully like pure way. As we get older and the parents teach us how to be good citizens, good human beings, good Christians, good yogis, whatever it is that your parents raised you to be, or maybe your parents didn't raise you, maybe your uncle raised you or your grandma, but however you were raised to be, this is where your sense of authority comes from, right? Were your parents the type of people that asked you, hey, is this something you want to do? Or were they telling you, hey, this is what we want you to do? Right. And so as we become adults now, we get to reparent ourselves in this beautiful manner of like asking ourselves, in what ways have I been conditioned by my past experiences? And what of that do I want to carry forward in my experience? And if you don't already have your body graph, by the way, I highly recommend looking at your body graph. Tess, you said you've learned most of what you know about human design through me. Awesome. Awesome. I have splenic authority, epic. I hate being told what to do, mama bear. Yeah. And the thing is, it's like one of the like um if you hate being told what to do, again, that's not necessarily a problem, but one thing you have to understand about being told what to do is that there's a small chunk of the world that is actually in a position at any given time to be the one saying what to do, right? They're called manifestors typically. Um, but Haley Pooker, so a body graph is it's part of what human design is, and I can throw one up behind me here. So that is not a body graph. This is a body graph right here. So this is a body graph, and this is specifically, yeah, this is my buddy Pasha's body graph. This is basically going to tell us what is like natural, what is consistent, what is reliable in an individual's system, and in these white centers, where is their like openness? Where is there the ability to experience things from the external world? And where is their original, unique things that can be manifested and brought into the world? Mama Bear. Oh yeah, it makes sense why you hate being told what to do. No one. It's yeah. It's like telling a manifester what to do is it's funny. Now, if you give a manifester information, that's different. Sexy, sweet, subtle. What's up, Bobby? Manifesting generator. Yes. So this is the body graph of a manifesting generator, and specifically, if you have a body graph like this, if you're a generator or a manifesting generator, this is probably one of your most important centers. It's called the sacral, right? It's the red square in your body graph, and what you're supposed to do with that sacral is listen to the gut sounds and the gut responses that you get. And so what I mean is like if someone puts a plate of disgusting food in front of you, you're gonna go, ugh, right? Because it's gross. Like you might actually even throw up. That's a gut response. And it's literally like it's trying to push things up out of your gut. It's trying to push something away from you. That's what your gut is doing. Listen to that. Push the plate away. If someone puts something like delicious in front of your face and you smell it and you go, right? That's like, hey, I want to eat that. And the thing about it is only you can calibrate this scale within yourself. It's like singing, right? It's like if you give me a guitar and I play the guitar, and then you give me a nicer guitar and I play that guitar, it might sound a little bit better. But you can't do that with someone's voice. You can't do that with their sacral. You can't do that with their gut response. You have to practice your gut response. And I have videos here on TikTok under the playlist Sacral Calibration that will literally just like run you through exercises on how to calibrate your sacral. But the key with the generator type is to practice using your sacral and practice listening to your sacral. So if you get an do it. If you get an don't do it. If you get a don't do it. It's only like ooh, yes, exactly. That's exactly what I want to do. Follow that. So have BPD. So I'll be different than the test depending on my mood, I would think. No. So bipolar disorder, you don't it's not like a personality test, the fresh knots. This just goes off of your birthday and your birth time. I'm not interested in what your Not that I'm not interested in what your mind says about you, but most people have an idea of themselves that's not actually themselves. And the reason that is because of this concept I was talking about, which again is internal versus external authority, right? And for instance, one of the people with like BPD, bipolar or borderline personality, right, is, for instance, some people have what's called a split definition, right? And actually Pasha has it. So he's got these two centers are connected, and they're connected to these two centers up here. So these four centers are connected, the solar plexus, sacral, G, and throat, but they're not connected to the root and the spleen. Not to say like this could explain your bipolarness, but if you look at the types of connections, like for instance, this person's risk or struggle is not always going to be connected to the main part of them, the channel of charisma and their creativity and their leadership and their intimacy. Their struggle is going to be a little bit disjointed from their intimacy and their charisma and their creativity and their leadership and their alpha-ing, right? Which this person, I know that to be very true. So, like, you know, Orphic Creature is saying, I hissed when I found out I was a manifester. I thought I'd be a projector, right? Because it's like who you think you are and the way that you think you're valuable in the world may not actually be what human design says. And I'm not saying just take what human design says and just run with it. I'm saying experiment with what human design says your value is and see if that doesn't actually show up for you better in life. Could you please talk about incarnation crosses? Apparently have a right angle cross of tension. Yeah, so I don't talk too much about incarnation crosses that often, because then everyone just starts like pinging them. They are in your reports. If you guys generate a body graph on my website and you get a report, it'll talk in detail about your incarnation cross. But when it comes to incarnation crosses, these are interpretations of two gates specifically. It's an interpretation, sorry, four gates. It's the interpretation of your personality, sun and moon, and your design, sun and earth. Sorry, personality, sun and earth, and your design, sun and earth. So it'll be say like right angle cross attention, and then it'll say two numbers afterwards. The key with unlocking your incarnation cross or manifesting your incarnation cross is literally your strategy and authority. Like for this person, he's right angle cross to the sleeping phoenix. And the sleeping phoenix is about like being an individual through going to sleep, waking up, going to sleep, waking up, riding these emotional waves out. And that's this 2034 channel. So anyway, the incarnation cross is going to be fulfilled. This person will fulfill their incarnation cross by following their strategy and authority. Test for you in regards to tension. Again, that's a keynote on your incarnation cross. And so however you're going to be following your strategy and authority, the idea is that you're becoming someone that is able to navigate tension well, right? So that means that in your life, you might experience a lot of tension. You might be the one creating tension. You might be the one relieving tension. You don't want to get too specific into it because, again, it's just an interpretation of those two gates. So I don't actually know off the top of my head what the gates of tension are or the cross of tension is made up of. But if you put that in there, I can tell you what it is, because there's like hundreds, almost 200 incarnation crosses, but they're all composed of again, four gates: your personality, sun, earth, and your design, sun, earth. Thank you guys, by the way, for the likes here. Thank you for everyone who has shared it. Again, I'm on a mission to just get this information out to people so that they can realize how awesome they are and stop measuring themselves with a measuring stick that sucks ass. 48, 21, 39, 38. Okay, so that's depth is 48. 21 is control or the hunter. 39 is obstruction or provocation. And 38 is 38 is the fighter. So again, it makes sense about this, right? Like you're here to, and then what is your strategy and authority as well, Tess? So and this is part of my what I'm here to do is like I want you guys to understand that like learning human design is not the end all be all. Because like what I'm doing here is like I've internalized this system. It's like a second language for me now. But just having the right amount of information, hair, can put you on track. You don't need to know the entire system. Mark, for you to mentor me. Danny, reach out. So if anyone wants mentorship, am open to that. I do one-on-one sessions. That's how everything starts with me. If you want to work with me, just book a session with me and we can that's how my mentorship programs start. It's not something I advertise because I'm not like trying to mentor a bunch of people. I really just want everyone to consume all this free information that I'm sharing, or get their report and learn themselves. So anyway, splenic authority manifestor type. Okay, so Tess, through following your splenic authority, manifesting your splenic authority, and informing others and following your strategy, you will fulfill the depth, you will have the areas of control that are necessary. You will be able to discover which risks are worth taking. That's the 38. And then 39 is you'll successfully be able to like poke and prod at people um, from a way of like, I want to discover like what the emotional depth is here. And so again, it's like, and Tess, I guess I could just ask you, are you a very like not necessarily overly curious? That was kind of like a funny, the real question is like, if something is wrong with one of your friends or one of the people in your world and you can sense it, are you the type of person to like poke at it and go after it and ask about it? I would love the mentorship. Well, I pulled my HD book out today. Nice. Very curious of, oh, absolutely. Right. Okay. So that is again, that is the manifestation of your incarnation cross through your strategy and authority. So the idea again is simple. It's like this is there's a lot of information in here, but if you just start working at using your strategy and authority in everyday moments, that takes you steps and steps closer to embodying your body graph. That's the idea. And that's why I think human design is, and why I put so much value in human design, is because it's one of the only systems I've seen that has uh, uh, a mechanism to help you actualize the information and energy. Like, you know, when it comes to astrology and enneagram and all this stuff, they're like personality traits and all that. That's all cool, but it's like, how do you actualize it? How do you embody it? And even in programs like yoga, right? Like there's plenty, and I don't mean to trash talk yoga, but there's plenty of people that are doing yoga not necessarily to actualize any of their spirituality or actualize any of their awareness. They're just doing it because it's a fad, or they get to wear yoga pants and yoga pants look sexy. And there's plenty of people doing that. Probably not a lot of people on this chat, but you'll probably see them. And don't judge them. They don't know. Everyone is just ignorant of something. I'm ignorant of things. Everyone is ignorant of something. But you do not want to be ignorant of the way that you operate according to human design, because when you learn how you operate according to human design and whether or not that's correct for you, you can make adjustments so that you're actually using the inherent energies that are correct for you. And it's like night and day, guys. Like people who actually like start practicing their human design, it's like night and day. It's like taking off sunglasses and you're at night and you're like, oh my god, I can see so much better. It's like, dude, yeah, you had sunglasses on and it was nighttime. Anyway, they're only teaching their math. However, so there's that. Right. And that's the thing too, is like teachers oftentimes they just teach the way they teach. And if someone doesn't get it, they don't shift the way they're teaching. And that's in my opinion, that's a good thing, because you have all heard like, oh, Green Day sold out, they don't make music for us anymore, they make music for the labels. That's literally the same thing. It's like I can change my way of teaching so that more people can get access to it, or I can keep my way of teaching and preserve my internal authority and not like try and sell out to make a buck, and keep doing my way. And the thing about it too is, it's like, a lot of people talk about being stubborn, and there's definitely a time when it's like you need to like yield and be soft. But most people are stubborn about the wrong things, right? They're stubborn about being like other people, not necessarily being themselves. If more people were stubborn when it came to like actually being themselves, yeah, life would be cooler. Not necessarily for me, but for those people, life would be cooler. So something that's very prevalent, and in 2025 is really when it's gonna come about. I'm really excited to kind of launch this, and we are sort of in like a soft launch right now. It's like you can consider it like an open beta. Anybody that wants to join the archive is welcome to, and the archive is going to play like home base for those of us that are using human design to work in the somatic therapy realm. What I mean by that is like, and specifically the guy who has this body graph is one of the masterminds behind it, along with myself. Is what if someone, instead of needing to go through an intake and an analysis and seeing, like where your psychosis is, what if they were just able to look at your body graph and give you a list of exercises that would help you clear your trauma? Would that be valuable to you? Well, we're doing that. We're actively pioneering that method. Do you think people will use charts in the future for job screenings and things like that? I think the people that end up using charts for job screenings are going to find a lot more success in their hiring and in their workplace management. So yes, I do. And awesome, that'd be valuable. Okay, great. So this is the thing that we're working on right here, guys. So it's still, like I said, it's still open beta. We have yet to kind of like finalize the actual product itself, but all the pieces to the product are in our archive, which is, it's like our online community. So anyone that wants to join along for the ride, it's stuff that doesn't posted to TikTok or any of our socials. It's exclusive classes and series that we have run. That's like, hey, here's how to reprogram walking. And then in hindsight, it's like, oh, this really helps with balancing the spleen. Here's how to, remove trauma from the body using soft tissue and trigger therapy. Oh, that's really good for the solar plexus, right? Here's how to, make the eyes bigger, make the peripheral vision. That's really great for all of this, and so it's a, again, like I said, it's like an open beta, but it's a community where we're processing this together because we want to create something so that you can literally just get a report and it's like, do this exercise, do this exercise, do this, and then you have a whole sequence, because everyone has an individual sequence. And so if you guys want to join that, check out the archive. It's in the link in my bio. And we're all on the somatic movement, Wade. Yeah. I don't know the exact time I was born. I gotta wait for confirmation. Fresh knots. Yeah, if you the time of the birth can make a big difference. If you call the hospital, they can find out, or if you can get a picture of your birth certificate. And if you don't know it, by the way, you can actually go to Neutrino Design, which is the app that this image comes from, and they have a birth time rectification feature that exists. So where did I learn human design? I learned it from life. I learned it from myself. Specifically, I actually, in terms of the information that I first received, was through this book, which I have a link that I need to add to my website. Or did I already add it like a good boy? I might have already added it. Oops. No, I added lightsabers. But anyway, that book is, this book is incredible. And like I was saying, part of the beta for this community, one of the things that we're going to see in 25 is probably I'm gonna go out and probably say it's gonna be like the most affordable course on human design. I'm like the Robin Hood of spirituality is kind of how I view myself. Steal from the rich and give to the poor. But it's more from just like just give, like get rid of all those labels. I'm just gonna give things to you. So we're going to learn it. So let's see, what's the next step after reading that book? I'm currently studying it. So the next step with anyone outside of reading the book is to primarily you're tracking A handful of things. So the first thing is yourself as an individual, and this comes from the circuitry, because there's four types of circuitry in human design. One of them is individual. So when you're done reading the book, but the reason you're reading the book and the reason you're learning human design is to see yourself as an individual, to see yourself individualized, free of any value systems that are not inherent to your own body. What I mean by that is, like, you're not judging yourself based off of your undefined heart. You're judging yourself based off of your emotions and your sacral. Did I take care of those things today? Right. So you're tracking yourself as an individual. You're tracking yourself as part of a tribe, right? Who are the people that you do things with, that you have? And tribe is like this. Tribe is like, we do things that other people don't do. We do things that other people are not invited to. Tribal circuitry is very exclusive. And whether you have tribal circuitry or not, you again are looking at who are the five people in my life. Usually it's like around 3 to 5. Who are the five people in my life that I spend the most time with, and how are we conditioning each other? That's where you would use a composite. Okay. So that's the second thing. The third thing is your collective. And the collective is like, what news source do you watch? What social media app do you use? These are like grander things. And again, the question is, how is the individual in me being conditioned by the collective? What things am I consuming and seeing that are being shared on a larger scale, that are conditioning me? And again, practice makes permanent. The more you expose yourself to something, the more permanent it becomes in your mind. Then integration, right? This is where the experiment, this is the integrative circuitry. So with those, tracking yourself as an individual, who is your tribe, what collective circuitry or conditioning you're absorbing, then you're asking yourself, how do I integrate all of this? And again, part of the integration process is like literally just reflecting on what has been happening and using the language, right? So for instance, you could say something like, in a reflection, right? um and this can happen daily, this can happen weekly, this can happen on a lunar cycle. Like the moon was just in gate 48, which is my personality moon placement is in 48. And so for me, there's a lot of things that are, how you say, about to happen, because I just like did my own point of reflection. I'm always fearful, but I'm sacred and I'm trying to learn trust. Right. Exactly. Like, it's okay to be always fearful. And in a lot of ways, it's like, if you're always afraid, that's awesome, because you have so many opportunities to be courageous. Because strength and courage is not the absence of fear, it's the presence of the fear, but the willingness to do it anyways. So, like, yes, you will experience fear, the fear of using your sacral, but you will also experience the satisfaction of using your sacral and the satisfaction of overcoming fear. So go for it. You got it. It is like a, how you say, there is like a buffer period. You don't just go from, not caring or not knowing about your human design to just suddenly embodying your human design. It doesn't work like that. There's a system. It's like you're training a physical body and a non-physical body to do something. Maybe sometimes that it's totally opposite of what it's normally done. So be patient with yourself. Koi. So human design is actually partially based in chakras, and this system right here is actually an evolution of the chakra system. That was a uh, uh, a seven-centered system, and people were very like, you think the Matrix is bad now? It actually was worse before. And by worse, I mean it was much harder for people to go from being like a poor servant boy to the king. Now the Matrix is not as bad as it used to be. Now you could have somebody from nothing be the top dog in a 24-hour time period. Think about that in the 1700s. That did not happen. You were either born a king and you died a king, or you were born a peasant and you died a peasant. That was the seven-centered beings. Now we are nine-centered beings. Now we have individuality that's being brought forward. I really don't understand how people found happiness in life 100 years ago. Well, they still had body graphs, but here's the thing. it's like really more like 200 years ago. But us looking back, it's like, yeah, how could you be satisfied? But them looking forward could be like, what is all that? Right? Brooke, it's a great question though, because you know, people didn't have as many things. They weren't necessarily like looking to be individuals back then. They were looking to like just like feed their families and get through the winter and that kind of stuff. So thank you. But also, how do I trust my gut telling me no versus me needing to conquer the fear of trial and error? Part of it is trial and error. Be smart, definitely. Part of it is trial and error, but a lot of it is just practice. You know, a lot of it is practice, because one thing that you can do that will help is if you start taking your hand, and if you just like start dragging it down your face as like a metaphor. This is part of a placebo effect. Okay, I'm taking going from my head, and I'm going to be in my gut and in my belly. So if you just use your hand, put it on your belly, and make your decisions from where your hand is as opposed to where your head is. You can even again massage the energy down. This is called your vagus nerve. This is the triple warmer meridian, and you can just do this. Like, let's take the thoughts down into our gut and then make the decision from there. Again, it will take time. It will literally just take time and effort. Just time and effort. That's what kung fu means. Time and effort. Things were simple: survival versus thriving, right? Even the king was just trying to survive back in the days. 2-4 undefined throat here, and often I don't want to talk at all, or I'm drained. Any communication tips? So as someone with an undefined throat, I talk a lot. I talk a lot. Um, but one of the things that I'm not trying to do, or one of the things that I'm watching, is when I'm talking just for attention, because that's one of the most draining things. Is like, I'm just trying to get a word in, or I just want to get my point across. That's one of the hardest things. Unless someone wants me to get my point across, I'm usually not talking. That's why I love these lives. It's because everyone here is wanting me to share about something. That's when my undefined throat does really well, is when people want to understand what I have to say. They'll ask questions about it, and they'll shut up and give me time to talk. If people are not asking you questions as someone with an undefined throat, or there's not how you say you're not able to be light and joyful with that undefined throat, that's when it's going to be draining. When you're trying, again, when you're trying to get your point across, but the other people maybe aren't listening. Also, when you're like trying to do things for attention or get some kind of attention, most of the time, when I'm in like actual physical situations, I'm not talking as much. Definitely not as much as when I'm on a live. Human design is my favorite never-ending rabbit hole. Exactly. Exactly. Could you explain all the types, but like as characters? What kind of characters? Like dark fantasy characters, or like movie characters? That's one of my favorite things to do, actually, is to look at the types as characters. We're gonna go with dark fantasy characters, and mad, or like wizards. Let's go with wizards. Okay. So the reflector is going to be um a wizard that can see everything. Yeah, dark fantasy seems to make me happy. Wait, check this out, guys. I don't know if you guys know where that's from, but it's the dark fantasy. It's the dark fantasy song that's trending on TikTok. Anyway, I loved it. That's the theme music. Okay, so dark fantasy wizards. Okay, so human design, dark fantasy wizards. Let's go with the generator class and the manifesting generator class. And so these are definitely going to be melee classes. Is the generator class, because that's like the sacral energy. It's very like how you say, generate energy. So generator is going to be like our tank, like big shield, heavy armor, big sword, maybe even like a two-handed axe, something like that. Manifesting generator is going to be more like a rogue. So right, so you're going to be able to come in, fight up close, but then also like go back and like shoot arrows or leave bombs. They're much more agile than their generator counterparts. Oh, mangens have uh wings, rogues with wings. I like it. Okay, great. Maybe they can just jump super. Oh no. So mangens, not that you have wings, but you can jump, drop a bomb, and then use the explosion of the bomb to like jet yourself a little bit further. Do most people resonate with all the characters, but one more than the other kind of thing? I think so. Sort of. Yeah, it's like everyone has like, for instance, you might be a generator, but you might have a projected channel, right? You might be a how you say, you might have qualities of projector as a generator. So yeah, it can definitely happen that way. But anyway, let's go back to the classes real quick. Okay, so manifestors are going to be, I'm going to say manifestors actually in this instance, what I'm thinking about them as is either a like a ranger, like a somebody like a bow and arrow, but also it's like they have this ability to like buff things and tell people what needs to happen, but also like give them extra power. So it's like they're like a ranged person, but it's like I can shoot an arrow at one of my teammates and it'll like give them, it'll heal them or make their attacks twice as strong or something like that. Now, the magic users, I would say are the reflectors and projectors, but they have different types of magic. It's like the reflector probably would be really good at like finding weaknesses in the enemy. So like for instance, I can see that the enemy is allergic to fire, and then I can tell the manifester, hey, buff the generator's fire attack, make all their physical attacks fire attacks, and we'll kill this guy really quick. So it's much more like strategist energy. And then I would say probably projectors are the surgeons and the healers, as well as the like, summon a big fireball, lightning ball. But again, this is just how I view it in my head. There's definitely an argument to be made that the generators are actually like more like magic type characters. But again, that was just fun. But other types of characters like vehicles, the projectors are planes, manifestors are helicopters, reflectors are UFOs, generators are trains, and manifesting generators are cars. That's how I would do it with vehicles. Yeah, and I'm biased towards reflectors and projectors, just straight up, just because I am a reflector and my partner is a projector. I love generators and manifesting generator. I love all the types equally, but I treat y'all different, straight up. And that's how it should be. Like we should love each other equally, but we should treat each other uniquely. Yeah, I definitely crash and burn like a helicopter. What about by authority? Ooh, classes by authority. I've never even thought about that. That might be a little hard. I got to think about that. I just came in time to hear the Gen, a magic character, basically will treat you differently too. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, it's like every character has something that's magic about them. Like one thing that I find that's really magical about generators is when they find something that they really love, one of the most magical things is like how much they love it, right? Or how obsessive they are about it. Because when your gut is lit up about something, you know what I mean? Like, and it's one of the most beautiful things to witness. And it used to make me really insecure because I'm like, dang, why do I not have that type of energy to do that? But then it's like I look at certain things in my life, like I just got lightsabers, guys, which is really freaking cool. Okay. And I've spent a few hours, and this might be a new thing for me, but I make lightsaber fonts. This is an Alice in Wonderland themed lightsaber right now. And so I ripped videos off of YouTube and I cut them into sound fonts and I turn them into. So look, let's do another one. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. Hold on a second. Moonfield. So that's a Tibetan sound bowl. Check this out. That is kind of a shitty speaker, but I need to make a lightsaber with a better speaker. That is a sound healing bowl. So I'm going to be making like sound healing lightsabers, which is going to be fun. Do the vehicles again. Okay, so human design vehicles. Reflectors are UFOs. Manifestors are helicopters. Planes are projectors. Race cars are manifesting generators, and generators are either tanks or trains or semi trucks. Okay, wait here. I gotta show you this. Okay, so this is an Elden Ring. This is an Elden Ring. Oh, I didn't update this one. Anyway. Anyway. I don't know why I started talking about lightsabers. Obviously, I'm super excited about. Oh, so generators, their sacral gets lit up, right? It's magical to see how excited generators can get. And it's like, I'm not expecting my excitement with the lightsabers to last a long time. I'm just enjoying it while it's here. That's the nature of having an undefined sacral. While the energy is there, it's there. But it's funny because that's actually, similarly enough, the nature of a defined sacral is when the energy is there, it's there. And when it's not, it's not. For an undefined being, same thing. When the energy is there, it's there. When it's not, it's not. Now, it's not going to exclusively come from you. Whereas with a generator, that's typically where the energy is going to come from. In my world, reflectors are the race cars and mangens are the UFOs. You would say something like that. What do you recommend for a generator who hasn't felt excited about anything in a while? So Patricia, I would like hunt for that thing. I would figure out what you have energy for, and one of the best ways to do that is just through like experimenting. If you give me more information about your type, I can tell you what the best way to experiment is. Like one of the best things for generators to do is to literally just like walk around town and follow your gut. Like walk into any store or gym or club that your gut pulls you into, and just like sign up for something, being spontaneous like that. 3-5. Yeah. So Patricia, you're gonna have to go through some things that are like, oh, this is really great. Actually, I hate this thing. That's the third line. Right? Why does waiting to respond feel like I'm being unproductive? That's hilarious. So waiting feels like you're being unproductive because we have all been conditioned, right? Again, the external world has conditioned us to believe that if we're not being productive, that there's something wrong with us. And they've taught us that through school and by giving us all this busy work and blah, 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 right? But it's a conditioning, because boredom is not actually boredom. Boredom is the feeling that you get when your nervous system starts to calm down and your body starts to go into a rest mode, right? Like being intentionally bored is part of my daily practice. I spend at least 20-30 minutes just like staring at the fucking ceiling, guys. And yes, I do feel the pressure of like, Marco, you should be productive right now. But it's like, no, I'm going to prioritize my nervous system and allowing myself to not be conditioned by the external world. You have to tolerate your boredom to experience the joy of being alone. You have to learn how to tolerate, being unproductive in order to learn what is truly productive, what is actually productive in your life. Because for a lot of people, I would put money on this, and I wish we could actually run some kinds of experiments like this, but because I put money on this, I would gather that if somebody spent 15 minutes a day for an entire month, 15, let's say 30, if someone spent 30 minutes a day being bored intentionally, like literally just like sitting and staring at a wall, or like going for an aimless walk, doing nothing, at the end of that 28 days, there would be a huge transformation in terms of what person viewed as being productive, and they're just their overall view of themselves would totally change. So anyway, um, hey Marco, I'm a generator. Wanted to know what the environment plays a role in HD. So your environment does several things. One of the first things that it does is it basically allows you to access parts of your brain and your circuitry that are not available in other environments. And what I mean by that is, like, in a way, it'll be easier to be yourself if you're in your proper environment. And if you're not in your proper environment, there's a chance you won't see the things that you need to see, or see them in the way that you need to see them. Say, "Ooh, I might try that." Yeah. So for anyone that wants to do that challenge and like see if this makes sense, like, spend 30 minutes a day doing nothing intentionally. And by nothing, I mean you can go for a walk, but don't like go for the walk to like burn calories. Don't listen to music or listen to a podcast on your walk. These are specifically like low stimulation activities, because that's what you want to do. And the ideal is like literally just like sit or lay down and stare at something living. Stare at a plant for half an hour. It's hard. It's hard, but again, we're conditioned to think that if we're not stressed out and being busy and doing and producing stuff, that there's something wrong with us. And that is very rarely the case. That is very rarely the case. A lot of people are taking medications. A lot of people have had surgeries. A lot of people have developed diseases instead of just like allowing themselves to be bored. My brain goes away when I do that. I do that for fun. Exactly. Like, thinking is not a bad thing. For whatever reason, spirituality has us convinced that thinking is a bad thing and that you need to meditate more so that you can stop the thinking. Not true. That's like trying to stop the heart from beating. We don't want to do that. We don't. You don't want to stop the mind from thinking. You just want to watch them. That's what meditation is for. You watch them. How to get motivated and stay motivated as a reflector. And very interesting. So what I just did last night, when the moon, and you can look at where your moon is in your chart. Like for this chart, it's in gate 60. Whenever the moon transit is in the same gate as either your personality or your design moon, as a reflector, just journal about it. Right? And anytime one of your energy centers, especially when the heart gets lit up by any of the transits, journal about it. So as a reflector, the way that you stay motivated is by just be engaged in your life through the process of reflection. Specifically at these points, personality sun or personality moon, design moon, but then also like for this person, when the moon goes into gate 44, that lights up their heart. That would be the only gate. That would be another area that I would journal about motivation. Um, and you can go to any website really to generate the transits for you. What I would recommend though, if you're serious about this, because there's it's a hefty amount of note taking, but you see this down here, it says notes. This is a screenshot from my favorite app. It's called Neutrino Design. It's only $26 for the entire year, and you can view the transit. You can move the transit, so you could literally find out at what date and time does the moon go into my moon, design moon. What date and time does it go into my personality moon, and then what date and time does it go into any of these channels? And you can go to you can set up reminders and you can take notes, and everything is within the app. So I would recommend, instead of just going online and generating the transit and doing all the work, Neutrino Design, I helped develop this feature in terms of like taking notes, and Neutrino Design for reflectors. Could you do a whole video analyzing transits? Yeah, I actually do them every now and then, and I can actually, maybe we can clip one right now. But if you look at the transits going on here, and what is this? This is not the actual transit. So I can't clip it right now. But the actual transit for right now is, let's see. So the sun is in gate 44, which is just this one right there. The sun is right there, right? And so what I was talking about in terms of reflectors is like using the transits. And there's not one way to use the transits, right? It's like you can, one person can look at the weather and be like, oh, I'm doing this. Like it might be raining, and like sensible people would be like, oh, I'm gonna stay in and watch movies. But you might be like, oh, it's raining, I want to go out and get in the ocean, something like that. Anyway, this is Neutrino Design. This is an app. So if you go to my website, I think it's like the third or fourth button down. It says Human Design Mobile App. Does it help to add Ascendant, Lilith, Cryon in the chart? So Neutrino Design has a section that tells you all of that stuff. It's not part of classical human design, but it is in this app. And so anyway, you can get this app. It's really simple. Go to my website, click the link, get the subscription. Then you're going to get an email. Download the app, take the code from the email, and then put it in the app, and you'll get the app. That's how it works. Love the app, bro, but I still find it hard to learn the information. Bros, there's a lot of shit in there, my friend. So definitely makes sense that it's hard to learn the information. It's like learning a new language, you guys, And I think that's one of the reasons why you probably hopefully show up to this live every now and then. I'm live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. But it's because the more exposure you get to this type of language, the better you get at it. And that's it. The more opportunities you have to practice this language, the better you get at it. And so, for instance, one of the ways that you can hack your life with human design is start to use vocabulary words. Start to use inner authority, external authority. All right. So if someone says like, hey, do you want to go to this party? And you're like, I don't know, man, my inner authority is kind of telling me not to go. And they'll be like, what is that? And it's just like inner authority. Well, it's like the authority inside my body versus you, the external authority outside my body. Right? You don't have to like explain it to people, but in your mind or in your own words, if you can say things like, I'm actually, my gut response is kind of like, I'm not gonna go. Right? Or as a projector, if you get an invitation and you don't feel recognized, it's just like someone invites you to something, it's like, hey, thanks for the invitation. I don't particularly feel called or recognized to go, so I'm not going to go. How do you get the green screen up? That's amazing. I know, right? If you click the enhance when you're live, if you click the enhance button, there's a green screen thing there. Bless me. My environment is artificial shores. What does that mean? So artificial shores are like, the shore where the sand becomes the water. Artificial shores are man-made shores. So where the grocery aisle becomes, like in Costco, there's a couple shores in Costco, right? When you walk into Costco, the first shore that you are at is from outside to inside, transition spaces. The next shore that you're at is the electronics section moving into the utilities section. Then you go into the meat section and the bread section. Then from the bread section, you go into the vegetable section. So there's all these different shores in life, and it's where you transition from one thing to another thing. When you go from the free weight part of the gym to the machine part of the gym, right? And so again, artificial shores, and the idea is that in these shores is going to be places where you're going to be able to see the things that you need to see, and in the way that you need to see them, so that you can do the things that you need to do. Like, I swear all my physical pain right now is emotional, but I'm not understanding what it's saying. So a lot of the times emotional pain is typically saying like you have yet to confront the truth of the matter, which if you're emotionally defined, it's like there's no escaping that. If you're emotionally undefined, you might have a friend who's trying to escape it. But typically if there's like ongoing emotional pain, there's some like inner truth about a relationship that you're not fully aware of, or you've yet to fully like process it and move it through your system. Just FYI, I was down today seeking my next home/living situation when I came up on your sharing. Be smart. I forgot to remember, but this way is so important. Yeah. That's interesting. I love that. Is environment meant to be taken literally or also figuratively? Both, Patricia. Definitely both. Mine is dry kitchens, but mostly I have problems with cold food indetermination. Interesting. So cold food does not mean like smoothies only. Cold means lower than your body temperature. So anything that's like, as long as it's not like super hot, that'll probably do good. Hopefully that helps. Because yeah, some people be like, I don't want to just drink smoothies, and it's like you don't just have to drink smoothies. You could have like soup that's not as hot as it usually is. Human design is what you clearly notice about self if you were never messed with on the journey. Yes, like yeah, like how would you be if no one taught you how to be? Human design would let you know. Gets, I'm trying to prevent myself from getting incarcerated. Does Oh wait, I'm trying to prevent myself from getting incarnated. Does incarnation cross info serve me anyway? So if you're trying to prevent yourself from like reincarnating, one of the things that I would do is I would really follow strategy and authority. Because here's a perspective. One of the reasons why we incarnate and reincarnate is that as a soul, with the infinite wisdom as a soul and a consciousness as we have, the soul will still sometimes fail to recognize the body and use the body that it's in, and that is why we reincarnate. Because like the test in life is to, how do I as a conscious being harmonize the mind and the body that I was given at birth? How do I as a spiritual conscious being use what's given to me and create as much goodness in the world as possible? If I can't figure that out in this life, I have to do it again. That's kind of my perspective. My environment is also mountains and I live on a hill. Yeah, my environment is valleys and I live in a valley. So it's like it's figuratively and again physically and figuratively, the environments. Same thing with the determination. Like low sound is what I do. So it's like if I'm watching TV, I turn the music down. Or if there's like a lot of people talking around me while I'm trying to eat, I usually go away from them and eat alone. My sister has the Phoenix cross. She's a manifesting generator while I'm a projector. Right, right. I'm a caves woman, literally. Yeah, so it's and in your incarnation cross, again, you will share an incarnation cross with many people probably throughout your life. But one of the things you have to realize is that everyone's journey toward their incarnation cross, or everyone's journey from their incarnation cross, is different. It's a destiny and it's also the starting location. So let's see. It's written in a human design. I'm so new to this. Yes, Anne. Welcome to the rabbit hole. Don't be discouraged. There's a lot of information here. I talk about a lot of different things all at the same time. It will make sense. Just stick with it. If you need help, I highly recommend getting one of my reports. I sell two types of reports on my website. One is like the budget report. The other is still like a budget report, but it gives you more information on the human design system and also kind of my method within human design. So I made one available for $20 for people that like really just need the information about their body graph. It does a whole analysis on the body graph. The $35 report, that's called the Reiki report. The Reiki report will give you all of that information that's in the other report, plus a bunch more information. So let's see. I need to do cabin and bus living, going to market, but have teens that are heavily indoctrinated. Are people with more six lines closer to incarnating? Not necessarily. I don't think so, at least. Mine says wide valleys, raw. So I'm a wide valley person as well. Again, wide literally valleys, but then also like being on the ground floor, like sitting on the floor is really good for valley people. I do a lot of like my meditations and stuff on the floor. I'm new at this synchronicity much. I'm a manifestor 2-5. Don't know what the 2-5 means. I have your report. So in your report, it will tell you what the 2-5 means. But specifically to tell you now, the 2-5 is you're a hermit heretic. So it's like you need your alone time, but then you're also like very solution oriented and here to bring answers and stuff. Um, so fixed fate versus right angle and left angle. So right angle crosses personal destiny. You're here to fulfill some kind of personal destiny. Left angle crosses transpersonal, meaning you're here to clear karma with people. And the fixed fates means you're here to do both. Split definition is like this. Okay, you've got that center, that center, that center, and that center connected by channels, but these are not connected to this center. These centers right here, which are connected to each other. So you got this island here and then this island here. Basically means that you will need other people and you will sometimes need more time to make decisions that are correct for you. It's like having two people living inside of you that are they live in the same place, but they're not always communicating with each other. So you need to make time for the parts of you that are split to talk. And sometimes it really helps to have another person. Sounds like a Gemini mindset. Well, that's part of what Gemini and Pisces as well. Pisces is a communication between, the physical and non-physical world, a conversation between the left foot and the right foot, whereas Gemini is a conversation between left hemisphere of the brain and right hemisphere of the brain, or left lung and right lung, right? Left hand, right hand. It's not. This is the thing. Is like I love my hands the same, but I treat them differently. You have two children, love them the same, treat them differently. Why? Because they are different. As a human being, you have masculine and feminine elements to you. Love them the same, but treat them different. Libra are kind of like that too, dualistic. Yes, and reality is very dualistic. Could you say something about connection 9 and 0? That's my relationship. So with 9 and 0, what that means is that between your body graph and somebody else's body graph, all of the centers are defined. Now, what this means is that there's not a lot of room for the way other people do things. And so on the healthy side, your relationship is to a degree impervious to outside influence. Now, on the unhealthy side, maybe there's something in your relationship that is not vibing, and someone on the outside can really give you guys some good advice, but there's no room in your relationship. See what I mean? So it's a catch-22 with everything, because 9 and 0 means that you're fully defined. There's no room for other information, right? When you're at the party, you guys are either like right next to each other, on top of each other, or you're nowhere in sight. Because if you are in sight, you're going to want to like go be complete with that person. It's the feeling of completeness. And depending on the connections, it may feel more complete than others. Or it might feel complete, but not actually be complete. Because you could have 9 and 0, but still have breaks in the circuitry where all the information isn't flowing. And again, you're not looking to like max out your body graph with somebody. It's not going to tell you. It's not going to tell you what the relationship is like. It's going to tell you the potential of the relationship. How does Quad Right give themselves permission to be more perceptive in this world, or passive in this world? You can wear a bell around your neck, and whenever the bell is ringing too much, it means you're being too active. That was a joke. Yeah, we have almost the same family history, and we know each other since teenage years. Yeah, so it's like with that 9 and 0 relationship. It's like you really feel like you get each other and understand each other, right? Which again is great, and it also can become, how you say, like, oh, is this how it's going to be forever? I was taking it seriously. Stop, Leah. Yeah, I mean, try it out. Again, here's one thing about me, especially being the 3-5 reflector, and I love my type because I just get to be like the most out of pocket person. But like legit, put a bell around your neck, because now that we have this kind of funny experiment, if you have a bell around your neck, anytime you hear that bell like ringing, you're gonna think of this moment and you're gonna ask yourself, how can I be more passive? This can actually be a thing. Star Views, what's up? Hello. And that's the 3-5 roll, because that it could also like totally not work, and then you're just wearing a bell, and it's just like it doesn't work, and you're like, okay, but we'll never know unless you try. So try it out. Try it out, Leah. What exactly, according to HD, determines if two people are suitable to each other? Please show on a diagram. So I actually have a composite right here. I did for one of my clients, who's actually, this is a business person, right? And so he's asking about the compatibility between him and one of his potential partners. And so this is the analysis I gave him. So my buddy is over here in the pink, and his clients or his business partner is over here in the purple. Okay, this is what you would call a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 2. 7 defined centers, 2 undefined centers. Right. So these people's relationships, if they're living out their human design, and again, you're not this is showing you the potential of the relationship. This isn't showing you the actual relationship, because My friend, for instance, who does not have a defined sacral, might have a very conditioned sacral, which he will bring to the relationship, which will throw off all of the connections that are connected to the sacral. In this instance, they would probably have, if his sacral is not, how do you say, if his undefined sacral is very conditioned, this relationship will bring up issues regarding nourishment and caring for each other and caring for themselves, or responsibility and having too many responsibilities or too little responsibilities, etc. Oh, I need to make sure I have cash. Hold on a second. I'm pretty sure I do. I'm getting a water filter today. Let's see. Yeah, we're good. There we go. Okay, anyway, is he single definition? Let's see. Do projectors have a problem learning from others? Not inherently, but they often do. They often do, because a lot of the time projectors are like, they can see everything that's going on with everyone else, but they can't really see what's going on with themselves. And a lot of the times also, projectors don't necessarily get invited to guide other people as much as they want to, or they feel like they should. And it makes them bitter. So anyone trying to give them advice, they're like, I'm the one that knows how to do things. People should be asking me more. um, anyway, projectors need others to bounce off of. Right. It's helpful to have people to play with as a projector. It's helpful also as a projector to have other projectors in your life that can empathize with your experience. I can definitely guess what people are by how they talk to me, because and another thing too is that I can do is, and I was able to do this before, but I can tell who's like in alignment with themselves and who's out of whack with themselves. It's very easy. Um, Kata, thank you for sharing the live. Appreciate that. I've seen famous manifestors list and so many dictators and tyrants. How to avoid getting to the dark, right? So you avoid going to the dark by, really, it's like this again, and this is an interesting question, because it's really weird to say this, but it's like all of the dictators and tyrants and all those types of people that we have in the world, a lot of the times those people think that they're doing something, how you say, different in the world, but they're actually just perpetuating the same thing that they think is wrong with the world. They're just perpetuating that. That's where you get the dictators and tyrants, is it's like, I want people to be free, so I'm going to enslave people, right? um you can't just, there's no reset button on any of this, so you have to go from wherever you're at to where you want to go. And a lot of the dictators and the dark siders, they want to get there faster, right? They want to get there faster, and they want to be there now. And so it's an inability to see where we're at and the journey ahead of us. The way you keep from going to the dark side as a manifestor is you recognize that there's a journey. And specifically, you can also look at your moon, both in your design and your personality. That's cool. Lou Stellum, thank you. That was awesome. That's called manifesting. How do we get more of those? Can I make that as a gift? Let's change the gifts up. Where's the manifesting? I like that a lot. That was cool. Manifesting. There it is. Bingo. Oh, reset the live goal. Oh, dang. Someone gave a bunch of. Thanks for the ghosts, y'all. Just terrible. Appreciate that. Okay, so we got the manifesting ball now, because I just like the way that thing looks. HD gifts would be fun. What about for generator? What were we talking about for generators? That was so cool and so appropriate to share. What did I share? Um, so, guys, this is the thing. And if you think you can help me, please reach out, because I definitely am open to help. I do all of this stuff mostly by myself, right? I've actually been calling in someone to help with um like organization, I guess. It'd be like a virtual assistant job, but someone that's like really competent. Um, I've been holding out for a while. But what was I talking about? Oddly, I've never had trouble with being a teacher or finding clients. Yeah, I've never had any trouble with that. It's for me, it's like the tech side and the system side. Tyrants. Okay, thanks, MM. Yeah, the tech side and the all of that. Like I just started doing TikTok lives, which is really fun. Um, and I just started this kind of this archive community where it's like we're going to have the you know, all the videos and stuff. And I don't know, I'm not like a technical inept. I'm not inept. I can do things, but it's definitely like I really enjoy being able to I would love to enjoy being able to like work with somebody and have them set up a lot of that stuff, like landing pages, all that like I could do that. It's just it's such a chore. Let's see. Not sure I grasped I not sure I grasped this split projector. Is that what you're trying to say, Starred Muse? Why did you use zeros? I'm not sure I grasped a split projector. Honestly, I was your TikToks that taught me how to look at my human design. Ash, that's awesome. That's what I want. That's thank you for being that, because that's like literally what I want. I want to be able to I want to be able to I want people to be able to read their human designs just from watching my videos. That's literally what I want. And if you want to get really good at it, my goal is to in 2025, everyone that's in my archive by the end of 2025, if you join by a certain date, um, the goal is for you guys to be able to read your human design just by being in the archive. Um, Okay, great. So let's see. Yes, I found an old chart thing in my email when this first grabbed this attention last year. Yes, excellent. I printed 45 pages. Definitely printing it out is really good. Thank you. I really like talking about human design, and it also has helped me so immensely. And I think that's why it's like it's so important for me to talk about it, because I it's just helped me so much. It's the same as Reiki. You're the first place that I was brought to when I looked at it on here. Yes. That's another thing too, guys, is like I've seen a lot of trends go right by me. I saw the Reiki thing go up and I didn't get on that train. I saw the men's work thing go up. I saw the sound healing thing go up. I saw so many trends go by, and I'm like human design. I want to be on the top. I want to be on the top of that. So I just got to start talking about it. And literally, when I started my channel, I literally made the same video every day for 28 days, and then I would make a different video. It'd be like day 4 of me talking about the human design types and strategies and authorities. That's what I would do. Now I do it a little different. Maybe I should go back to that. I don't know. The algorithm is totally different now. So, but my strategy is still the same, and I still do move in seasons. Like, for instance, this season starts with gate 44. So alertness, like the season of this next 28-day cycle for me. Yeah. I'm a sound healer, just became one a little while ago. Yes. We're all, and I'm not going to say we're all sound healers, but we all have the ability to heal ourselves with sound, and it is through the voice and the throat. This is the instrument that all of us are born with. But no one uses it right. And by no one uses it right, I mean they're not experimenting with it. So check this out. As a sound healer, check this out. So start toning, go try and keep the same tone and keep your eyes fixed somewhere, and then turn your head as far to the left and then as far to the right as you can, and listen to how the voice changes. Another thing you can do is if you do that, but instead of toning and you just inhale and then swallow, you can make your throat bigger. Exhale, inhale, swallow. You can work on actually making the parts of your body that are like the highways for taking information out of your head and putting it into your body. You can do that. Make your neck bigger. Make your neck bigger. And there's a bunch of exercises that are in the archive, which is again the place where it's like our laboratory where we're trying to figure out how to use the human design system to inform somatic awareness and somatic therapy. And it's like it's me. I'm a 3-5, and my buddy Pasha is 1-3, and we are not like we're not gonna like polish it up before we release it. We're just gonna give you guys access to it as we're doing this. Did we hit another? Did we hit a live goal? My lords, well done. By the way, what's up to all the subscribers in the chat? I don't know if there's a way. Can I see who's the subscribers are? I don't think I can. But thank you for anyone that's subscribing. Well, the lady who taught the course taught us to use our voices as well. Awesome, yeah. Also 35 is what I'm talking about. 35 is the best. Sorry, guys. Just terrible. Hey, sir. Hey, congratulations, Tara. Just brand new subscriber. Welcome to the party. My oldest healer friend just passed that near 90. Learned a lot from. Oh man. What's their name? What's their name? Astrology. So we can send some love up to them. What do you mean your gate cycle starts with gate 40? Man, Leah, nothing gets past you. So what I do for myself is during the lunar cycle, and for me that's going to be so Star Muse. What's her name real quick? I'm building up some Reiki for her, but I'm going to keep answering questions. So yesterday evening, the moon transit was in gate 48, which is where my personality placement is on my moon personality placement is in gate 48. So the transit and my personality moon placement synced up. Susan. Oh. Blessings to Susan. So what I do then is I look at what gate is the sun in during that time, and it was in gate 44. So that's kind of like my that's basically my how I'm going to determine what season is what season we're in. Or that was like the next gate that was there. The sun gate. So it's it has to do with the moon. And again, these are like experiments that I'm cycling through. I do a lot of experimentation. Guys. And it's important as a reflector, I think, to do a lot of experimentation, because otherwise you're just waiting for someone to tell you what to do, because no one has any information on reflectors. The lunar return feature is very cool. Yes, definitely very cool. Sorry, guys, got trapped. I was like looking at more information. Anyway, let's see. Do you think that there's something similar to human design that can be used for animals? You can use human design on animals, actually. In neutrino design, there used to be a feature where you could add your pets. But anyway, so Coy, the link for the archive is on my website. So if you click the link in my bio, and you'll see it. It says communities and courses. Yes. It's also at the top of my actual website, not like the links that I have. So say, why does this explain me too much and I don't even know what that means? I feel so seen. Yeah. So and this is like the reason it's like, oh my God, like I feel so seen and all that is primarily because um again, we're all born in this world the way that we're born. Sounds funny to say that, but we're all born the way that we're born. And then we learn how to be something other than ourselves. And part of like the spiritual journey is remembering, oh, I'm actually this way. I thought I was going to be that way because my mom was this way. But I'm actually this way. There's nothing like my mom. You got these like guys like the Mad Hatter voice. It's a new voice. It's fun. Oh man. Yeah, that's too fun. Yeah, we're all just lit up by human design. We just love it. And it makes us so much better than everybody else because now we have our human designs and we're all living natural and everyone else is living conditioned bullshit lives. They think they need to be something other than what they actually are, which is the dumbest thing that I've ever heard. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Best part about human design, guys, you don't have to know a lot to be really good at being yourself. Like you don't have to know, like I could tell you, gatherer, uh detail, preponderance of the small, which one is that? Stimulation, before completion, after completion. I could tell you 42. Which one is that? Oh, I guess I can't flex that hard. But anyway, you don't need to know all that. You just need to know your strategy and authority and be good at tracking how well you use your strategy and authority. As you do that, you start to, again, build up a repertoire of different experiments and tools that you can use in any given situation to figure out whether or not you're in charge or you're letting somebody else be in charge of you. Are you saying, are you anything like your parents? I, yeah, actually, I am. I am a lot like my parents. I'm a lot like my parents. Yeah. Um, and I do my best to, in the ways that I judge them or that I wish they were better, I do my best to be better. But there's something really beautiful about actually coming to terms with the way that I'm different from my parents, because they have so many admirable qualities. Like I love my parents so much, but there's certain ways of being. Like for instance, my mom has emotional definition. She's a lot more emotional than me. And for a while, there was a long period of my life where I was also very emotional. Now I'm a lot less emotional because I'm not around my mother as much, which I love my mom. And it's like you don't get to choose what conditioning, like you don't get to choose. You're in proximity of each other, and so you're gonna condition each other. And someone like me that has all undefined centers, I'm going to be the one getting the brunt of the conditioning. My parents and my brother are going to condition me more so than the other way around. Unless they're very open and receptive to me, that's how it's going to be. And now, as we've gotten into the later years, they've become a lot more open to my feedback and my reflections. But that's because I went and established myself for myself, not to spite them or anything, but just because that's how I do. Tuning into your body and meditate really, really helps. Fresh knots, your sacral is in charge. Yes. And it's the thing is like, even if you don't actually let your sacral be in charge, like you still make decisions with your mind, it doesn't mean that your sacral is still not in charge. Like your sacral is still calling the shots. You're just choosing to go against them with your mind. Astrology first began in 1978. LOL. Hope, hope I do research knowledge. Yes, I have a hard time informing because when I do, I lose all motivation. It's like brain goes task complete. Ah, interesting. Okay, so it's like if you like want to write a book, you know, you tell people you're writing a book and then you lose motivation. So that's not informing. At least in that instance, because that doesn't seem very like helpful. What informing is like, hey, I just wrote this chapter of this book. Will you read it and give me your feedback? It's hard for manifestors with ADHD. It's I mean ADHD, ADHD, ADD, neurodivergence, all of these like your brain chemistry isn't normal. It's like it's really just an experiment of like you just got to find out something that works for you. Don't get trapped in that label. For instance, manifestors with ADHD, again, don't just tell people what you're working on. Say, hey, this is what I worked on. If especially if you lose motivation, because that's also like leaking energy. Just in general, if I'm going around talking to everybody about how great my healing journey is going, I may not even be doing anything for myself on a healing journey, but I'm talking about it, so it feels like I am. Um, Yeah. So again, like ADHD, neurodivergence, the more you accept that and the more you just realize like, oh, I just have to find ways to work around this, not to like figure this shit out. So I should discuss after action if you need to discuss it at all. Like, I guess one of my questions is like, what is it that you're informing? Because now I'm interested, right? What are you informing people about? And then what motivation are you losing, right? Because it's like it depends. Sometimes you should tell them before, sometimes you should tell them after. The question is like, are they in your way, right? Because it's like if someone is standing where you're about to drive, tell them before, hey, I'm about to drive there, get out of the way, right? That hopefully you're not going to lose the motivation to drive where you were going to drive because you have to tell someone to move. You might feel hesitant to tell the person to move because you don't want to be like up in their face, but the alternative is run them over. Now, when it comes to work and accomplishments and stuff like that, I would recommend not telling people about your goals until you've achieved them or you need their help with them. Can you recommend any books about human design? Yes, I can. And I wanted to um I just did a thing where you guys can buy the book. I'm going to add it to my website real quick. Over here I'm saying I'm like, oh, I'm not technically inclined. I'm over here just adding buttons to my website willy-nilly. I recognize that that's something that I figured out how to do and that I'm actually pretty decent at doing, and that a lot of people still don't know how to do that. Anyway, as a projector, it's still hard for me to shut up now. As a projector, it's still hard for me to shut up now that I know I'm annoying. Sorry. It's okay. Does it help to know that it's annoying if you don't? That's a funny way to put that. Um, all right, guys. So I added the link to get the book that I recommend, which is this book. I added it to the links in my bio. So projectors are more observers than anything. If we give advice without asking, we are seen as a know-it-all. Yes, which is like, super annoying. What's incarnation cross? Right angle cross of rulership. Where's the rabbit hole? So it's your life is the rabbit hole. Like contextualizing your incarnation cross has to do with learning about how these gates show up in your life. So the incarnation cross comes from your personality and your design, sun and earth. Learn about those four gates. That's where the information, that's where the rabbit hole is. um, but how to get that informing strategy, not to not demotivate. So and again, I guess the question is really is like, what is your motivation, right? I've studied this for 10 years, Zach, and I used this book for a lot of those years, and then but most of it, if not all of the relevant information, comes from my life experiences and my work as a Reiki healer, sound healer, um, leading retreats, leading men's work and men's groups and stuff like that. A martial artist. Um, that's where like really a lot of the integrated stuff comes from, because human design in and of itself is just a bunch of information. If you don't know how to put it together, then it's just a bunch of information, which is great, but it's not going to do anything to actually improve your life. So I was working in like the realm of spirituality for years before I started teaching and sharing about human design. I started sharing about human design about maybe two, maybe 3 years ago now at this point. So I had already been studying human design for like 7, 8 years before I started teaching it. And I did that on purpose because for me, I see too many people out here that have like took a course on something and are now like actively perpetuating themselves as forces of authority in that space, even though they just got certified in that space. That's I can't do that. I can't do that. I have to study something for a long time before I'm actually like feel confident that I've made enough mistakes that I'm going to go on like live and just put myself on blast out there. Now, as a third line, I wanted a place to make my mistakes and learn, right? Just because you're a third line doesn't mean like, oh, just like start throwing it out there like that. It's like, okay, I'm still throwing it out there. I'm making more mistakes in the public eye now, but there's a period for me where I like to actually not have anybody watching me while I'm like studying something. And while I'm if when people are watching me while I am studying something or practicing something, it does make me better. So I have noticed that. Zach, that investigator definitely likes to, and that's even actually what I just described as more of a 1-3 profile than a 3-5. 3-5 is actually a lot more like, well, just throw it out there and figure it out. 1-3 is like throw it out there and figure it out, but let me make sure it like works really well. Yeah, and not all mistakes are made equal. Like if you make a mistake in front of people that you care about and you're really embarrassed, it can be more powerful than making a mistake alone. Like they say that one performance as a musician is worth 10 practice sessions, because at the during the performance you care a lot more about it. So you put more of yourself into it. I have to pee, guys. I will be right back. And we back, and it's raining. All right, so what are we talking about here? We still haven't like addressed that manifesting being demotivating. There is a part of your report that will tell you about how you're properly motivated. So another reason you might be losing motivation is because you're improperly motivated through your transference, as opposed to properly motivated um, through your what's it called? Through your actual motivation. Which again, that all of that is in your report. Which if you guys don't have one of my reports already, I highly recommend going and getting one of my reports, because a lot of your questions, the answers to those questions, are literally just in my reports. What about 4-6? Regal authority. What is regal authority? I'm kidding. I don't know. I don't think that's anything. 4-6 is the opportunist role model. So here to make connections and have a strong network. Also here to wait for invitations that specifically recognize parts of you. They could even use words of parts in terms of your keynotes of your body graph. And you talk about splenic authority for someone who has been through a lot of trauma. Totally. So splenic authority is like your intuition, right? It's your instinct. It's your sense of like physical bodily well-being. Now, if you have experienced a lot of trauma, chances are your spleen is probably like never gets rest, right? So for you, one of the things that is going to feel like unsafe, or you know feel like you're vulnerable, um your spleen is like high strung, so you really need to be doing exercises, particularly around like the vagus nerve, um getting the going into like peripheral sides of your body, getting into your like peripheral nervous system as opposed to your focused nervous system. So doing eye exercises is really good for you. Um, the spleen speaks in a very like subtle language, almost to the point of like ringing in the ears, whispers, closing of your throat, brain fog, stomach kind of hurting. And again, the spleen is here to alert you using fear. It's here to make you afraid that there might be danger, so that you investigate whatever the danger is, and then you can like, oh, there's no fear there. Now, for people that experience trauma, and I'm not looking at the screen because then I'll start talking about something else. But people that experience trauma, oftentimes they experience fear where there is no danger. The fear is like an echo coming from the past. If there's anything that's over 18 months ago, that it still inspires that like fight or flight response in you, highly recommend finding a somatic therapist that's good at what they do, and working on that, because it is helpful to have a professional who knows how trauma is stored in the body, which is like physical trauma. Now, if you can't afford that, spend $11, get on the archive, start doing the soft tissue sequences, because those will also help you remove trauma from the body, just not through like kind of like the talk therapy type stuff. And if you're with a therapist who's not trained in somatic release or somatic therapy, leave that therapist. You don't want to be working with a therapist who doesn't have information on somatic therapy. Anyway, maybe that's why I'm hyper aware without trying. Probably Andromeda. Is that what helps you develop intuition? Yeah. So your intuition is literally the like, are you food or am I food? It's that part of you that's like sizing things up and looking to preserve your vitality and your well-being. Welcome, Totes. Abby, Ash Toby, welcome. Can you talk about the Gift 58 self-created by Joy as a 3-5 projector? So my partner has the 58. You know, pressure to expose weakness, right? It's like the part of you that wants to establish, hey, can we all just normalize not cursing around my child? You know, because when people curse around my child, it makes me feel less joyful, right? One of the things that you have to actualize is that the gift is for um, uh, the people around you, not necessarily yourself. And so, one of the things that I've seen a lot is that these judgments become like very internalized, right? Or the weaknesses or the analysis or the pressure to correct things becomes very internalized. And that's not just generally not something you want to do with a projected channel. You don't want to internalize it. And so, one thing that I would say is um, if you don't have people around you that are making active use of that channel, one of the things that might show up is, you know, you don't really want to be around a lot of people, which I think is fine. Anyway, like it's really important to live a joyful life. And if people are going to interrupt that, or if people are going to not value how you people that are not going to value the way that you keep yourself joyful and the way that you want others to be joy, and like the way the standard of joy that you want for other people, find people that will align with that standard, and then you can be joyful as well. So anyway, I think I had a session today, but it's gone now. Interesting. Anyway, you guys have been awesome. We're at what, 20,000 likes? This is what's up. I see a lot of people are bothered about my healing journey, me being happy. That checks out. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Totally agree. People around me call me crazy just because I'm always singing random made up songs. Empowered healing. Yeah, fuck those people that are calling you crazy. You're awesome for singing random songs. Uh, Like straight up, straight up. And you know, and again, this is the thing is like, you guys have heard that story about crabs in a pot. So if you want to cook a crab in a pot, you have to put a lid on it. Like if you want to boil a crab alive in a pot, you got to put a lid on it. Because if you don't, the crab will crawl out. But if you have more than 2 crabs in the pot, if you have 2 crabs in the pot, minimum 3, 4, whatever, you don't have to put a lid on it, because if one crab tries to crawl out, the other crabs will pull him back into the death pit. And if he tries to crawl out again, they'll cut off his arms. And if he tries to crawl out again, they'll cut off his legs. It's nuts. It's nuts. Misery loves company. People are not people are going to fight the thing that makes them look bad. You know, and people want to keep you in their lives because the biggest thing that humanity is afraid of is the unknown. I don't want to know. I'd rather be in a toxic relationship than not be in a relationship, because at least I know someone cares about me or someone is showing me attention. No, the unknown is not as scary as we think it is, right? Overcoming your trauma is not as scary as you think it is. It might be scarier, but it's not as dangerous as you think it is, right? That's the whole point of like overcoming trauma. Is this the most dangerous part of the trauma is when it's being inflicted. So if you can learn how to be present when trauma is being inflicted, you don't have to go back and reprocess the trauma. If you can be fully present for what's actually going on and not get ejected out of your body, you become like resilient towards trauma. So anyway, sounds like a lot of projectors experience fucked up childhood. Right, totally. Because again, this is a physics equation, guys. This is not like your parents were fucked up to you. Your parents could have been so wonderful and beautiful and love you and do everything right for themselves in terms of being a good parent, but they still could have conditioned you to operate against yourself. It's not that, you know, some people are toxic and some people are not toxic. It's that everybody is ignorant. And the more ignorant you are of your ignorance, like, I don't know what I don't know. Figure out what you don't know. Figure out what you don't know, because that's where toxicity comes from. People saying, oh, I know this, but they don't actually know it. Or they don't know that they don't know it. And so it's not about knowing everything. It's about knowing what you don't know and being honest with yourself. Like, oh, I don't really understand how this works. I don't understand how the body graph works. Okay, great. Well, this is something that you can learn and experiment and see for yourself and just see how you work and track yourself. Because again, most people, we have eyes on the outside of our head, right? But we have 2 eyes and 2 ears and 2 nose and 1 mouth. So we should be talking, we should be listening and looking and watching and smelling twice as much as we're talking. Hoarder candles. Cool. I just love everything you stand for, Marco. Thank you so much for your teachings. Bless you, Fashion Slayer. Appreciate you. Thanks for saying that. I don't care. I laugh either way. I guess that's why they trip. Right. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Indeed. Who dares text? Can you say anything about generator 3.5? Yeah, sure. So I'm a 3.5, so I know quite a bit about the 3.5 profile. It's the best profile. Just saying, it's a really fun profile. Better than all the other ones. No, I'm kidding. All the profiles are great. It's like a movie. You can't just have one director. I mean, you can't just have 100 directors, because if you have 100 directors, then there's no actors, there's no one behind the camera, and there's nobody editing the movie. So you gotta have a director and an actor. Okay, I'm totally sorry if I go off on the bit and it's just like too much. Just be like, Marco, come on, fishy. So anyway, the difference between a 3.5 projector and a 3.5 man gen. So with the 3.5, you're going to get the same learning through trial and error, making mistakes. And the fifth line is solution oriented. I just realized like I can't really talk human design in that voice as well because it's like a funny voice, and human design is like very more factual and serious, so it's kind of hard to do the both. I'll try it though. Okay, let's go. The Mad Hatter. Teaching human design is the Mad Hatter. I've never done it before. So the strategies between a projector and a generator are going to be different. What you have to understand is that a projector is here to wait for an invitation and be recognized, whereas a generator can just respond and just generate energy just out of seeing something that's exciting. So a projector in a lot of no, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to do it. I can't do it. It's pretty funny. Start from the beginning, and when you come to the end, stop. Yes, exactly. That's a good one. I gotta add some more Mad Hatter quotes to my my lightsaber font. But again, the difference between a projector and a generator is always going to be like their aura, right? And specifically that Seiko right there. So it's like a projector is going to have to be more mindful with their energy because it doesn't consistently generate for them like it does within a generator. You have the voice on someone who never leaves the house. This is great. Right. I never leave the house anymore because nobody in on Hawaii even knows how to study their human design. And so I just stay in my house the entire time and I just stare at the plants outside. Yeah. I think I'm getting towards the end of this live, guys. I think the sillies are starting to come out. It's almost 10 p.m. here, so going to sleep. Thank you, MM. I hope you don't lose the motivation to go to sleep now that you've informed me that you're going to sleep. My auntie lives in Hawaii. Yes. Hey, I did the bio. Which bio? Brands. Thanks, dude. Oh, look, there's a horse. Hey, buddy. But you haven't said basically anything. I know, I said the three fives are the best, and then I said nothing. I gotta keep the rhyming going. Okay, that's gonna be hard. No, that's too much. Too much. No, three fives is yeah. No, I didn't say anything really. Embrace your mistakes and learn how to tolerate the projections of other people. Three fives can be very powerful because they tend to get a lot of heat. They tend to be the person that everybody loves right before they hate. And if you can learn how to tolerate the projections that people have of you and recognize that it's actually just their own experiences that they're projecting onto you, you can become a superhuman. I'm talking like have a costume and made of candy, everything. Because as a 3-5, one of the things that I've learned is that just because I make a lot of mistakes doesn't mean I can't provide a good solution. You know, sometimes you have to cut down a couple acres of candy cane forest to build a wee spa. Anti-manifestor hate crime. So I'm still here for it. It's a bit, guys. It's a bit. I can't stop. It's really fun. Um, 4-6 manifester. Opportunist. 4-6 manifester. First of all, your strategy is to initiate, right? Oh, the graph said I was a manifester. Empowered heal. Makes sense why you're just singing on the streets then. Because that's literally what you're supposed to do. This is very entertaining. I'm glad you guys like this. This is really so. I'm probably going to make a special live where I just talk like this, but probably not because I'll just break it. I'll just break it out whenever I'm feeling the vibe. You know, when it's feeling extra candy up in the chat, I'll just go ahead and just break it out. Sweet. I might even get more. We might even get more traction doing this voice than my normal voice. Now, this is the danger of being a reflector, is because when I find something that works, especially if it makes me money, I could do it forever. I might even do it so much that the Reiki Marco you guys have come to know and love, you never hear his voice again. It might just be that way. It's just it's just smart. The gift of an undefined throat. Yes, exactly. Quick tip for anybody that wants to look like an absolute gangster when talking about human design. This right here is an undefined solar plexus. There's at least one dormant gate in the undefined solar plexus. When you have no active gates in the solar plexus, we call that an open center. And not all undefined centers are open centers, but all open centers are undefined centers. I think I could do it. Guys, if I created a human design course that was taught in the Mad Hatter voice, would you guys drop bands on that? Would you drop $100 on a course about human design that's taught by the Mad Hatter? Yes. Okay. No, I'll go back to my normal voice sometimes. But I just discovered this voice, guys. I discovered it last night, and I'm just it's so funny. Could you imagine a Reiki course taught by the Mad Hatter? So then you're going to rub your hands together and build up the chi in your palms. After that, pull your hands apart and gently become aware of the space in between your palms. And when you can feel it, that is the you feeling it. Then you're going to tune into the frequency in your palms and place them somewhere on your body that needs healing. Okay, okay, okay. I might actually start. I might actually make some content like that. So the thing though is what I would want is first I need a big like Mad Hatter hat, and I definitely would want to like go like full makeup and just be like, have like be a full like an actual hilarious character, but I don't want to do makeup. I don't like wearing stuff on my face. You're awesome. I relate to the feeling. I do the same at home. Yes, and some rogue. Yes. Yes. Well, man, all this channeling of the Mad Hatter is just madder than a bucket of frogs. Madder than a bucket of crabs that are not letting each other get out. Madder than a pot full of boiling crabs that are keeping each other in the pot. Your daughter must have all the time of her life. Oh, we have so much fun. We have Me and my daughter have so much fun. She's still young, so she doesn't like get the voices, and she also hasn't watched any movies. My daughter is almost 2, and she hasn't watched any movies. The only time screen time she gets is with like we're FaceTiming my mom who lives in San Diego. But yeah, we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun. For Halloween, I will be Diddy. Oh God, no, no, Gaston, no. Well, I gotta go, man. It was fun. I'll be looking out for your live show. Have a great night. Empowered Healing. Much love to you, my friend. Um, if you guys are not already following, make sure you follow so you can find me again. I go live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Empowered Healing. It was awesome having you in here. Keep singing on the streets. People gonna think you're crazy. Love it. Love it. All right, guys. I think I'm probably gonna go too. I have some work that I could get into, so I'm gonna get off right here. So this is the G Center. And then it's kind of like the G spot. And when you're following the direction that you're supposed to follow, it feels like you're in a flower garden bed that's being well taken care of. Versus if you're going in the wrong direction, the defined G will let you know because it'll be like you're suffocating a flower slowly. Anyway, guys, I'm having way too much fun. Um, yeah, we're gonna go, guys. So see you again on Friday is the next time I'm gonna go live. So Friday at 9 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. Again, if you guys need anything at all, just visit the website. Link is in the bio, reikimarco.com. It was freaking awesome. Thank you guys for embracing the Mad Hatter. That was really fun. We'll see you on Friday. Aloha, guys. All right, where's the YouTube? William. I'm just seeing your comments. I don't know if you're still here, William, but that's hilarious. Slow down in the candy cane forest, right? Okay. That was fun, guys. All right. See you later, YouTube. Peace.